one thing about starting this e-com brand is it completely changed my life and grew to 7 figures within about 12 months. But it also just was the best self-development journey ever. And so not only did it give me freedom in my life, but it also just changed who I am as a person. And I know that this could happen for everyone. And nothing that I did was rocket science, nothing like everything. All you need is a blueprint and anyone can do this.
Welcome to Content Kingdom. This is your backstage pass to the people, tools, and the trends shaping the future of content marketing.
And welcome to another episode of Content Kingdom. I am your host, David G. Ewing, and with me is, I would call you the Godfather, but I'd actually think the Dogfather would be a little bit better. But this is Elina Panteleyeva. That's a fun name to say. Panteleyeva. Did I get that right?
That's perfect.
That's all right. We're on to a good start here on Content Kingdom. Elina is maybe a dog whisperer would be another good title. I don't know how many I can come up with. I feel like a ringside announcer right now. But anyway, Elina, thank you so much for coming on Content Kingdom.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, you are well known for having gone from zero to hero in e-commerce and building a brand all around golden doodles, right? It's called Dude Woof,
yep.
Correct? And maybe you could tell us just a little bit about the origin of Dude Woof and where you got started.
Yeah. So 2023 got laid off from my job and really had no idea what I was going to do. And I didn't have a product. I didn't have a business idea at all. But I picked up this book and it was called 12 Months to 1 Million. And it talked about instead of focusing on what product or service you're going to bring to the market, focus on the person that you're going to serve. So like the specific avatar. And that kind of flipped the script for me because I didn't have to focus on what product I was going to bring to the market, but more so like what group of people I was going to serve. And that gave me permission to just start posting content, just start talking to the specific group of people that I was going to serve, and then figure out what product or service I was going to launch after that.
All right. Got it. And so what made you gravitate towards not just dog owners, but, doodle dog owners? How did that happen?
Yeah. So it was kind of twofold. The first is I knew I needed to niche down because if I just had a dog brand, like there's a million dog brands out there. I in my head, I'm like, how am I going to stick out? Because I knew that any big dog brand, they could just squash me with their ads. They all have capital behind them and they would just outbid me on everything. So I needed a way to stick out in that sense, and then also to stick out on social media as well. So I didn't really see many people going breed specific. So that's why I chose doodles, because I have a doodle and that was like a specific, I knew I could find, there's a ton of doodle owners out there and people would be way more willing to talk with me and follow me if they felt like I was talking directly to them.
Well, I mean, I think it works because
yeah.
I'm a doodle owner. So and I think I see, is there a doodle hanging out on the couch behind you? I think I saw him sneaking around back there. There he is. Yeah. What's that little doodle's name?
This is Oscar.
That's Oscar. All right.
Yeah.
Now, normally I kick Grifter out of my office when I do this because I'm afraid he's going to bark at the window. But I actually have him here too. Of course, he's always pestering me, except on this particular episode. Now he's like really shy and he's hiding in the back. So I think he knows that I'm going to see if I can get him out before the end of the episode. We'll see if Grifter will come out. Right, Grifter? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, doodle owners are a rare breed. And, if you go to your website, Dude Woof, you have to be made of stone to not melt when you see the homepage. I mean, all the puppies they're incredible up there. And so, you have a doodle, and walk me through, how did you know that was working early on? What signals did you get that made you kind of say, hey, I'm onto something, or, maybe this, I'm doubting, but did you push through? What were those early days like?
So much doubt in the early days. I had never posted anything on social media. And because I got laid off, I didn't have money for paid ads. So I knew that the only way I was going to grow was to figure out social and how I was going to do that. And so in the beginning, it was really just, I knew I just had to keep posting, and I didn't get any traction really, but I joined this community for e-commerce people, and some people in that community, they weren't necessarily Doodle owners. They were just e-com brand owners, but they would see my stuff and they'd be like, oh, this is like really good. You know, just keep going. And so I don't know if they were saying that just to be nice, but there were certain times where I heard like that this is really good, like just keep going. And it was exactly when I needed to hear it, because I almost quit. But then I kept going, and I would get a follower here, or I'd get an email subscriber there. I would always try to get people from Instagram to my email list. And so then I would post. I was working with my manufacturer at the time, and the whole time I was on social, because I'm not a Doodle expert. I'm not a grooming expert. I'm not a social media expert. The only thing I could really do was just document my journey. So it was just post about how I'm going from zero to even having a product at that point. And so I would talk with my manufacturer, and I would I would post updates. I would write on my email list. I would be like, hey, like my manufacturer said this. They said we couldn't make this happen. Like talk to 10 manufacturers. They all said that this is impossible to create, etc. And so I didn't do this on purpose, but I was essentially carving out what is called like the underdog story. And so eventually people just kind of started following along and were interested to see how this was actually going to come into fruition.
Nice. And so how long did that period last of no product, but you're making this audience and you're hoping it's going to turn to something? How long did that period last?
So I started posting May 2023, and then I launched my product December 2023. So about 6 months.
All right. Now, you are well known for having #1 news releases and product launches. Walk us through that first launch. How was that? And did you hit #1 on that first go?
We did hit #1, and I had no idea that was even possible, but that was what kind of solidified the importance of documenting your journey. And you can do that. I did it back then because I didn't have anything to post. I didn't know what I was doing, but I think any size business should do this because it'll help you build connections with your audience like exponentially. But yeah, so started documenting the journey for 6 months, people getting on my list and getting into the story, and then launched the product in December. And I remember the first day that I launched, my discount code wasn't working. And I had a whole launch strategy where I was like, it wasn't just like, okay, now our product's on Amazon, go buy it. Like there was a lot of build up to it. I was like, mark it on your calendars. And I didn't know if anyone was actually doing it, but people were, because the first day that I actually launched, I guess my discount code wasn't working. And so people messaged me saying, hey, your discount code wasn't working, but I just wanted to support you. So I just bought the product anyways. And so I had enough people that just went and bought the product on Amazon that it triggered the algorithm and got #1 new release. And then those are the people that I could then go back and ask them to write reviews as well, which is like extremely important for any brand.
And what was that first product that you released?
It was a Doodle detangler spray.
Nice. All right. Very cool. And so, all right. So you get into these early days and you do the underdog story. And I mean, that journey is so inspiring, and everybody loves an entrepreneur who comes out of the blocks. So that's so cool. Congratulations on that, by the way. What, from a content perspective, after you started going, you're like, okay, wow, I've got orders, I've got a business. What's that next stage look like for you?
Yeah. So I think when you launch a product, it's like a lot of momentum for a week. And then all those people that were excited to buy, they already bought, so it's like that,
squeeze that lemon. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then it's like, there's a huge drop, and I didn't anticipate that. But then I was like, okay, so next step, I have to get reviews, because the only way that this is going to grow is if I figure out reviews. But the thing is, on Amazon doesn't tell you who actually bought your product. So you have no way of reaching out to those people. So I just started posting. I started posting on my email list, kind of assuming that everyone bought, even though I know that like a very small percentage bought. But I was like, I would write stuff, and then I'd be like, oh, here's if you could leave a review, like it would mean a lot to me. And then I got my first 1-star review, and I took that screenshot of it, and I said it was about a leaky bottle. So when we first shipped in our bottles, they weren't sealed properly. And so someone left me a 1-star review that their bottle leaked. So I took that screenshot and put it into my email list and said, hey guys, like someone, here's our first 1-star review. Like, I'm really sorry this happened. And I know that this can't be the only person who had a leaky bottle. So let me know, like, if you did, because I want to refund you and make this right. And then in the PS, I said, by the way, it takes like 28 5-star reviews to counteract a 1-star review. If you could leave me a review, if you like the product and could leave me a review, like, it would mean a lot to me. And so I got a ton of people that left me 5-star reviews from that. So it's everything that you, if you want an action from someone, the best way to get it is by celebrating other people doing that same thing. So I would really try to, like, in my emails, talk about the reviews, post reviews, and show them how important it is to me, in hopes that people would see that and leave more reviews.
That is fascinating. And that took a tremendous amount of courage. I think if I got a 1-star review, I would be like, oh my gosh, how do we get past that? But to acknowledge it, put it out there, and knowing that, like, if you had leaky bottles, other people might be just starting to slam you with 1-star reviews. I mean, that's massive courage. So you got all these positive reviews from folks. You dealt with the leaky bottle situation. And now you're a growing concern. So what was your next step in the plan?
So the good thing is that once you start getting reviews, people find you organically, because you go up in the algorithm rankings. And I'm talking specifically for Amazon, but it's really for any business. I mean, the more Google reviews you have, the more people just find you. So then it kind of started snowballing, you could say. And then I started working on my second product as well. So my goal was to get to 100 reviews. I was like hyper focused on that. And even now we're over 1,000 reviews on that product. But any even possibility that someone leaves me a comment or anything that they tried the product, we are like, it's not me anymore, but someone on my team is reaching out to them and saying, like, can you please, like, I'm so happy you love this product. I would love for you to leave me a review. So asking for those 5-star reviews is everything, because people are way more likely to leave you a 1-star review than a 5-star review.
I mean, I would love to say that I'm someone who goes and takes the time to be thoughtful, to talk about all the wonderful products and services I have. But usually, I know that the upsetness of the bad service totally outweighs the good. So you're right. I mean, I think all of us are guilty of that. So, okay. So you build this audience, and you start on Instagram, you convert them over to email. You're really, really transparent about bad reviews, which is awesome. And then you're building the reviews up on the Amazon channel. Now, I know you have a pretty particular philosophy, especially for small brands that are starting out, as to, like, whether they should go after one channel or if they should just go out and just try to sell through every channel that they possibly could. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that and how that shaped, the next step in your journey.
So definitely I recommend focusing on one channel, because you don't want to spread yourself too thin. So if you're on Shopify, if you're on TikTok Shop, if you're on Amazon, then like that, those same people, like if you send them to one channel, you can actually rank in the algorithm and boost yourself up and become an expert in that channel. And so I always say, right now we've been in business 2 years and I'm just starting to expand to Shopify. But when I heard about TikTok Shop launching, I said, okay, like this is a brand. I saw that nothing like this had existed before, and I had to capitalize on that early. So we were on Amazon, and even though I said I would typically say go with one channel, we decided to branch off and also focus on TikTok Shop, but with a different strategy. So with that one, I wasn't really posting. I was posting some content, just stuff that I posted on Instagram, but my main, the way that I was going to drive sales on TikTok Shop was strictly through influencers. So that's what opened that door. And as any business grows, doing influencer marketing is so essential, and it de-risks a lot in your business, because when you're the only person posting on social, like your account has to be seen by everyone, versus when there's hundreds and thousands of people posting on you, it de-risks it. And so something happens to your account, like you still have all those other people and all those other videos that are out there and posting about you and posting for you.
All right. This is an area that I really want to unpack, because I don't know much about this, and I'm really curious to see how untapped this is. So walk me through how you got your arms around influencer marketing. Maybe you could tell me like an early story of like what was kind of like an early base hit or a win for you.
Well, I had no idea what I was doing. So it was TikTok Shop. And after a lot of struggles, we got on there. There was like it was brand new. So there was just a lot of headaches with it. But there's already so many people on there, and so many people there's way more brands than influencers. So they were just flooding. All the influencers had like thousands of people in their inbox, just like, try this product, try this product, try this product. So I was like, okay, how are we going to stick out? So a couple ways. The first is because we're so niched, which again is a benefit in many ways. I only reached out to doodle owners, and they would see a product specifically for doodles, right? Doodle detangler spray, doodle shampoo. That kind of sticks out more than if I was selling a dog bowl or like a, generic dog product. So that was one way. The other is because we're building a brand off Amazon, I'm able to price my product like double the price of the competitors, basically. Like, yes, it's a way better product, but because I'm not attached to people just finding me on Amazon, but I'm posting on social, etc., I have all that margin then. And so I can give the influencers a ridiculous commission of like, I don't remember. I think at first there was a point where I was doing like 40% or 30. I honestly can't remember. And so my goal was to send as many samples as possible to as many influencers as possible to start building that momentum and start building all those videos around. So I would just send samples, and then every single person that actually, I haven't said this on any podcast because this is a hack, but every single person that bought my product on TikTok gives you the address of those people. So I have like on our team, like we manually write a handwritten note to every single customer and ask them for a review. So that momentum of a handwritten note, like it gets sent separately than my products. Like it's literally in the mail with a postage stamp. So it's not cheap to do, but I knew that I needed to somehow get reviews on TikTok Shop. And that was like, I didn't have their emails, but I had their addresses, and that was the only way how. And so people would leave me reviews. They'd be like, got this note, like can't believe there's actually a handwritten note. And so they would leave me reviews, and then influencers would see that. And so more people would buy the product. And it's kind of like a rocket ship where it's hard to get off the ground. But once you're in orbit, more and more influencers see that your product actually sells. They see what other videos, other influencers are making. They're like, oh, I can do this. And then they start coming and reaching out to you.
Wow. You heard it here first on Content Kingdom, folks. Like, thank you, Elina. That's awesome. No, that's an extraordinarily interesting guerrilla marketing tactic of like using personalization, and I mean true personalization to make a connection with your community. And that's actually a word that I think has a big meaning to you, which is community, right? I mean, to me, community can just mean all the folks that have my product, but community means something else to you. So maybe you could talk just a little bit about that. What does your community look like?
Yeah, I think as an e-com brand owner, like most e-com businesses, they forget that there's actually a person at the other side of the screen that's clicking and making decisions and buying. And so if you can treat those people like people and try to form connections with them, yes, it gets to a point where it's not as scalable, but wherever you can, like any email, like I don't have any customer support that's with a bot. There's a lot of other AI. We use a lot of AI and other stuff to automate things in the business, but like customer support and those touch points, I wanted to be human to human, because those customers, that are part of your community, like every single one of them, I try to turn them into a raving fan. So they bought my detangler spray. Okay. How else can I get also value from them besides them even buying a new product? Well, I'll ask them to leave a review. Like that's extremely valuable. It's hard to put a price point on it, but let's say $50. Okay. Maybe they can leave me a video review, but they're only going to do this if they actually if you treat them like humans and they actually want to support you and your brand because you're building real connections with them and giving them value as well. So we'll send I'll make content that's like DIY doodle enrichment games, or I'll just try to give as much value as possible. And I think people in general they also want to give back as well.
Got it. And yeah. And so on your website, you've got your own Facebook group, and that looks like to me, like once they're in that Facebook group, it's like a never ending virtuous cycle, right? Of them posting, giving you ideas, giving you feedback, but it's still closed and contained with the rest of the group. And, you can expose them to all your new products and ideas. It just looks like a home run ball in there. So how do you convert people to get into that community?
First of all, I want to call out what you said, which is totally true. Like I never decide myself what next products to make. I always ask my community what products they want, because it's a lot easier to sell a product to someone when they already want like a solution for it. So I'm not releasing a dog bowl for it, because I will be pulling teeth, and then it will feel like I'm just like trying so hard to sell this product. I'm asking them what their challenges are, what their pain points are, and creating products to help solve those pain points and challenges, because then I'm giving them value by creating these products. And people all money is an exchange of value for value. So they're happy to pay for it too. So yeah. I did want to call that part out.
So is there something the community wanted where you're like, really? You guys want that? Okay. Like, has there been some real surprises?
No, not really. It's pretty straightforward. Like doodles, they get matted and knotted easily. So that's where the detangler spray came from, to help brush them out. Then honestly, the second product I knew I didn't even have to ask them, which is a shampoo, because I went on Amazon, typed in Dude Wolf, and like the third thing that popped up was Dude Wolf shampoo, which means that people were searching for it. It just didn't exist. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to make that product then. And then the other stuff is them just posting in the community, like or in the Facebook group, like, hey, like my doodle, there's a couple of products we're working on that I don't want to yet really like mention, but they're posting basically like, I'm having this challenge. And I'm like, okay, there's so many people posting about this. I'm going to create like the best solution for the market for this, and then market it towards doodles.
All right. Well, we won't let the dog out of the yard yet on those, exactly. but we'll be excited to stay tuned on that. So, all right. So, you did something that I think is really interesting. You went into this TikTok influencer market, even though it was more channels than you felt like you could handle. I got to imagine that the next one that you and everybody else is looking at is the agentic AI channel, and like what to do with chat and how that's working. What are your early thoughts on this right now? Is this where you want to be? Are you skeptical? Are you pro? Where do you sit?
I'm not, it's the future. I'm not skeptical. I saw this Instagram post, and Walmart made a deal with ChatGPT or OpenAI for agentic e-commerce. And I'm like, well, I guess I got to get my products on Walmart then before other people do. So it's the future. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I definitely want to be at the forefront. I think that Google search is going to go, especially for things like what product should I buy? It's going to go way down. And instead, I actually think there will be a world where there's advertising and we're bidding to get the AI to actually list our product as the top choice. Interesting.
So you see this as being kind of like OpenAI's next revenue stream is accepting advertising dollars essentially for their AI engines. Is that kind of how you see it going?
I think it will be affiliate marketing first. It will be like they get like a percentage for if someone clicks their product and buys on Walmart or whatnot. And then I think after that, it'll be, people bidding to try to get to the AI to actually list the product as one.
Okay. All right. That's really interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, there's a concept of trust that comes in with all of this though, too, right? So, I mean, I think everybody who searches on Amazon or any other channel, not to just pick on Amazon, they've been a guest on the show before, is that, they're trying to give customers what they want while, hey, if they can wet their own beak, not so bad, but they can't lose the trust with the customer. And if the customer just thinks that they're going to steer them to the highest bidder or to the Amazon, product that replaces, that is their universal or generic product, they lose trust, right? And they've done a pretty good job of not letting that happen. I guess in your niche, are you really worried about that? Because I mean, you are so narrowly focused that it'd be hard for somebody, unless they were really coming into the dude space or dude wolf space, to really, unseat you there. So what are your thoughts about that? I mean, is that, how concerned are you with any channel, whether that's ChatGPT or Amazon or anything else like that?
Concerned if there's a competitor that comes in?
If they're concerned that, like, in that channel, the algorithm might be, maybe I'll use the word corrupted, but I think that's an overly burdened term, but like corrupted to not show your product and show just the highest bidder.
I see. So that is just so out of my control. The only thing that I can control, and that's the reason why you want to actually build a brand off of any of the channels, have a customer list, like email list, etc. Because I've already had my product delisted off Amazon like twice. So, and this happens every single person basically that I know, that happens on Amazon all the time. And so let's say it forever gets deactivated, et cetera. If I was only reliant on the Amazon algorithm, like I'm screwed. But because I have an email list, because I have a brand off of Amazon, I'll just send them to Shopify then. So if you can, whatever you can do to like be the person that controls your customers, you know what I mean? That puts you at the forefront versus most people, especially in e-com that sell on Amazon. They don't try to build a brand off of Amazon. So they're so reliant on how they're ranking. If something like a couple weeks ago, something happened to the AWS servers and everything was shut down, like they were, if that lasted for over 2 days, like they'd be screwed, versus like, is someone that's building a brand off of Amazon and controls their customer base, they can just send them somewhere else to buy.
That was shocking when that went down. And I think it happened for 6 hours. And the amount of people who contacted me to say my computer is broken. I was like, your computer's not broken. It's just Amazon that's down for a little while. But I think it had a measurable effect on the US GDP. It was crazy. Go ahead.
I was going to say the same thing with Facebook ads. Like a lot of people are really reliant on Facebook ads. However, there's so many updates that happen. Like, for example, when the iOS 14 came out, there was so many more privacy things. And so a ton of people they went out of business if they were like extremely reliant on Facebook. Like I do know some people that completely went out of business because of this update. So you don't want to be super reliant on any kind of one thing. You want to try to de-risk as much as you can in your business, in my opinion.
All right. There's so many things I want to unpack here, and I know we've got to be conscious of time, but let me see if I can get to a couple of them. So first, your comment about Facebook. Yeah, that happened to my sister. Fortunately, she didn't shut down, but she had to completely redo her whole business model at Literati because like the children's market for that, she couldn't target moms anymore. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy. All right. Back to you, though. You got delisted twice and got back on. What can you share with us about that experience? How did it happen? How do you prevent it in the future? What advice do you have for folks?
You kind of can't. It's like just random things trigger Amazon's trigger things in Amazon that you call customer support and they're like, and so I hired a consulting company to help me. Like there's probably like 10 companies. All they do is help people get back on Amazon, whether it's through delisting or account suspension, et cetera. So there's legitimately, like, if you sell on Amazon long enough, it's just known that something will happen, even if you try to make everything perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is it that you violated the commercial terms somehow, or is it more personal than that, where like they don't like something you posted on Twitter or something? What really could it be? So
mine was the return rate. It was a normal return rate, but the reason for return, somehow it was like defect, and somehow it was higher than some percentage that was higher than what their threshold for, I guess, delisting is. And so you had to like make a whole action plan, and it's a whole thing. Like it really is a whole thing, and it takes up so much of your brain space, and it's constantly contacting their support, trying to figure out what they actually want. Yeah. Wow.
Well, I mean, that's kind of amazing and frustrating. And I got to imagine that it's very sensitive. The smaller your volume, it doesn't take many defect returns for it to just suddenly probably trip their threshold. So, wow, that's fascinating. So, all right, Oscar back there wants me to change the topic. So I'm listening to Oscar. He said, he's moved to the other side of the couch. And I want to talk about, how you have also pivoted as well. So Dude Wolf is up and running, and you've got a team, and it's great. I'm a customer, by the way. But now you're helping others, right? Talk to us about what you're doing now, because now it's not just about Dude Wolf, it's about so much more. So what else are you doing with this, with your lessons and hard fought lessons learned in content?
So one thing about starting this e-com brand is it completely changed my life and grew to 7 figures within about 12 months. But it also just was the best self-development journey ever. And so not only did it give me freedom in my life, but it also just changed who I am as a person. And I know that this could happen for everyone, and nothing that I did was rocket science, nothing like everything. All you need is a blueprint, and anyone can do this. And so now I work with different e-com brand owners, and I help them get up and running and show them a blueprint. Because for me, I threw spaghetti at the wall a lot, but now that I have a blueprint that definitely works, I want to help other people, and especially like with their mindset. I mean, a lot of starting a business is the beginning it's your mindset. And so helping them with that and just being like a cheerleader for them, as well as giving them tactical advice as well.
Yeah. Having started Content Lion to go with Content Kingdom, I know that, there are some dark moments where you have a lot of self-doubt, and, overcoming that, I could use a friend, and, nice that you do that. So walk us through, how have you launched that brand and that service, on top of doing everything you're doing with Dude Wolf?
So one thing that I did for Dude Wolf is I set up systems pretty early on. And so now a lot of the day-to-day is handled by not me, which is nice. There's still things that I'm involved in for sure, but it gives me time to actually work on this more personal brand. And so really I'm building this personal brand exactly how I built Dude Wolf. I'm creating content for it that I started on Instagram. And my Amazon channel is essentially Upwork. So I have everyone that wants to work one-on-one with me hire me through Upwork, because then I'll go up in the algorithm, and then random people will find me as well. And then also just kind of meeting people. When you're in the e-com space, you just meet people in general. So that's how I'm driving traffic, and then trying to put them all on an email list where I provide as much value as possible about brand building, et cetera.
Outstanding. And so what are your goals for that business?
I don't really yet have any. Right now I'm just putting content, and I'm out on Instagram, and I'll have random people reach out to me for one-on-ones, but I'm not necessarily I'm not thinking about monetizing yet. Right now, I'm just really trying to put as much value out there as possible. I feel like I have so many thoughts in my head and so many nuggets that I'm almost like, the benefit of me is I'm only a couple steps ahead. So I know everything that's happening in the e-com world and I'm really involved in it. So I want to make sure like I capitalize on this exact moment in time of my life, because in 5 years, like I'll have a completely different perspective because I won't be as involved. I'm only in this moment like one time.
Got it. And so if let's say a large brand was really feeling like they were struggling in a particular channel, would they be a good customer for you? Like, is that somebody you'd help out? Or are you more focused on, somebody who's just, in your exact situation where they've got an apartment and they've got a dream and, maybe a dog? Like where would you say that ideal customer is for you?
So the person that is brand new, I actually work with them to send them through a course that I went through that taught me a ton about e-com, because it's not worth it for them to continuously pay me one-on-one, because we'd have to have like a lot of sessions. Actually, the people that would benefit the most from specifically me is those that are further ahead, like a larger brand that I could offer like strategic advice for, and they would know how to go in and implement. They already have all their systems set up and they just need either want some advice on like direction or just another person to just with a different kind of brain to help see things that maybe they weren't seeing before.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people out there because, the number one thing, whenever I go to a trade show or some other event and they ask the question, like, how many people here feel like you really belong, like you're an expert, and how many people feel like an imposter? Most of the hands go up on the imposter. I mean, nobody, I think, is out there saying, I have it all figured out. I know exactly what's going on and nobody could teach me anything. I know it, it's not commoditized. It's just so fluid and so dynamic right now. So, all right. So you've mentioned a couple of times, if people want to follow your Instagram, do you have multiple Instagrams? Do you have one for Dude Wolf and one for your brand on e-commerce? What walk me through how that's working right now so that people can find you for the right thing.
Yeah. So for if you have a doodle, you can follow me at Dude Wolf, DOODWOOF, Dude Wolf Co. on Instagram. And then my personal Instagram is ecom with Elina, ELINA.
Yes, ecom with Elina is definitely the thing that I think everybody will remember, as well as Dude Wolf Co. Right? Not just Dude Wolf Co.
Yeah, so exactly.
Well, very great. And then what about other channels? Like, are you on other social media platforms? Are you on X or LinkedIn or any other places?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I definitely use my Instagram more than LinkedIn, but yeah, you can connect with me there.
All right. Very good. And if someone wants to sign up for the email list, where can they go to get signed up there?
In my Instagram bio.
All Instagram. All right. That's where it is. Well, Elina, thank you so much for being on Content Kingdom. This has been really eye-opening. Thank you for sharing all of your expertise and knowledge. I think anybody who's in the e-commerce space better listen to this episode because it's been pretty awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Whiskey, beer, wine, coffee, or tea?
Ooh, coffee, for sure.
Coffee. All right.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm a very productive person and all the other stuff makes me less productive.
Proudest childhood moment?
We were locked out of my house when I was like 6 years old and I was the only person that could fit through the window. And so I got in there, went through the window, like unlocked it, shaking, so scared, got out of there and everyone was just cheering me on. And I was like, I did it. Yes.
I knew I loved content when...
I knew I loved content when I started actually making connections with people online that there's no way I would have ever met them in person and actually forming relationships with them, which is wild.
Favorite book, and children's books do count.
The one that changed my life, 12 Months to 1 Million by Ryan Moran, actually lives in Boston.
But did you just hear the dog bark? Because I think
there he is.
Grifter, can't get him on camera. There he is. Hey. Good dog,
That's
Grifter.
cute.
When I have some me time, this is what I do.
When I have some me time, I like to work out. I like to read, and I like to go on hikes.
And you could just follow it up with, and I like to listen to Content Kingdom, and then I would put that on my thing. But,
I like to listen to Content Kingdom.
All right. And last question. This one is special just for you. What is your favorite type of doodle?
I can't I guess Bernedoodle, because I have one, but don't tell anyone.
All right. Okay.